a beautiful brown-haired, blue-eyed doll who belonged to a little girl named Frida. Now, one day when Frida was holding Adeline on her lap, Frida said, "Oh, Adeline, if you could only talk." And what do you think happened? Well, the doll winked one of her blue eyes and smiled, and suddenly she said,
"Hello, I'm Adeline."
Well, Frida was so surprised she almost bounced Adeline right off her lap. And then Adeline began to sing.
I am only a doll, I'm not very smart. I don't know how to read or to write. But still I can sing and say over by heart all the poems I've heard you recite. We dolls try ever so hard to be nice, and we seldom complain of neglect. But if girls and boys would take my advice, they would show us a bit more respect. I like to be dressed, to be cuddled and fed, and to play in the bright afternoon. How happy am I when you tuck me in bed and you sing me a rock-a-bye tune. And when does a naughty wife scold? If you must, but remember whatever you do, that you're the example we copy and trust, for we dolls have no one but you.
Well, Frida was delighted that her doll could talk and sing. It was 100 times more fun to play with a doll who could talk and sing. But once in a while, Frida had to scold Adeline. She was such a sleepyhead.
Oh, Adeline, oh, sleepyhead, it's 10 o'clock, my precious. The children play and shout and run while you are missing all the fun. Oh, Adeline, oh, sleepyhead, it's 10 o'clock, my precious. Oh, sleepyhead, wake up and see your kittens. They all are waiting to be fed. They want some milk, get out of bed. Oh, sleepyhead, wake up and see your kittens.
Come, Adeline, come, sleepyhead, or shall I use cold water?
Oh no, that water is so cold, I'll get right up, so please don't scold.
Then, Adeline, you sleepyhead, jump up and out of bed.
Now, you turn this record over and I'll tell you more about Frida and her doll Adeline. Frida just loved to dress Adeline, but it was awfully hard to get her to keep still. She squirmed and twisted so that Frida could hardly get her dress on.
Adeline, you ought to know that you must not wriggle so, wriggle so, wriggle so. If I am to mend your slip, please be still or it will rip, it will rip, it will rip.
Here a ribbon,
There a ribbon,
here a button,
there a button, how adorable you look, like a picture in a book.
Yes, Adeline was as pretty as a picture in a book, but she was a very active doll. You should have seen the way she wore out her clothes and shoes. Why, she went through them so fast that Frida thought she must spend all her time walking on sandpaper. And it seemed to Frida that she must spend most of her time taking Adeline to Mr. Brown's shoe store.
Oh, Mr. Brown, how do you do? I'd like to buy some shoes from you, but they must be a perfect pair, the kind my Adeline can wear.
It's good you've come to Mr. Brown. I have the finest shoes in town. I'm sure you'll find a pretty pair that any doll would like to wear.
If they are fine, they must be dear.
Oh no, we have all prices here. What color would your doll prefer? Will you have black or gray for her?
I think that we will take the gray.
I have black shoes for every day.
Come in again when you're in town.
Goodbye, we'll do that, Mr. Brown.
Frida was kept so busy washing and mending Adeline's clothes that she didn't notice Adeline was eating too much candy until suddenly Adeline cried.
Oh, I have such a pain in my tummy.
And when Frida looked at Adeline's hands all sticky with chocolate, she thought she'd better call Dr. Powderpill at once.
Hello? Hello?
Oh, Dr. Powderpill, good day. Poor Adeline can't run and play. She will not eat, she will not drink. We really don't know what to think.
Pray calm yourself, it's quite all right. I'll cure her by tomorrow night. You really must not lose your head. Just keep your Adeline in bed.
So Frida put Adeline to bed just as Dr. Powderpill advised. And very soon Dr. Powderpill came to see her. He put a thermometer under her tongue, and Adeline tried to talk.
I feel just awful.
She tried to say, I feel just awful, but she couldn't get the words past Dr. Powderpill's thermometer. And Dr. Powderpill said,
Don't try to talk. Now let me see.
And he took the thermometer out of Adeline's mouth and looked at it. And just as he did that, we came to the end of this record. So you put on the next one. Dr. Powderpill gave Adeline some nice-tasting medicine and said,
Just keep her in bed. Lots of fresh air and no candy.
So Frida opened the window and tiptoed out of the room. My, how the wind was howling through the pine tree outside Adeline's window. But she didn't care. She felt so much better that she began to sing to the wind.
Storm wind, I hear you, but I do not fear you. Whirl the little leaves around till they rattle on the ground. Storm wind, I hear you, but I do not fear you. Blow, wind, blow. I should like to go riding through there with you till the sky is clear and blue. Blow, wind, blow. Blow, wind, blow.
At last, the wind blew the storm clouds away. But the moon had come out so brightly that Adeline still couldn't get to sleep. The moon wanted to play hide and seek with her, so she sang him a song she had heard Frida sing when she couldn't get to sleep.
Please, moon, don't shine into my window, for I don't feel so very well tonight, and so I ask you as a favor, dear Mr. Moon, please dim your light. The golden stars for you are waiting. They miss you, for they want to play. Go back to them and draw your curtain. For just tonight, please go.
Well, the moon was very kind. When he saw that Adeline couldn't get to sleep, he and the wind of the pine tree outside Adeline's window sang a little song to her, a song about a tiny mouse.
Sly little mouse, he left the house on tiptoe, tiptoe. He crept away on tiptoe, tiptoe. But Mother Mouse on tiptoe, ran very fast, caught him at last. On tiptoe, on tiptoe.
By the time the moon and the wind and the pine tree had finished their song, Adeline's eyelids were beginning to droop. But when the moon peeped in the window to see if she was asleep, she popped her eyes open again. So the moon said to the wind and the pine tree, let's sing her another song. And if you'll turn this record over, you'll hear the song they sang. Well, the moon and the wind and the pine tree began to sing again. And this is the song they sang.
The camel and the kangaroo, the bear, the tiger in the zoo, the chimpanzees, the monkeys small, were leaving for the fancy ball. The fat old hippopotamus was so annoyed at all the fuss, she ate up all the candy sweet
and lumbered off on her big feet.
The elephant, the only one who stayed behind, missed all the fun of peanuts. He had had his fill, and so that night he felt quite ill. The camel and the kangaroo, the bear, the tiger in the zoo, the chimpanzees, the monkeys small, they all enjoyed the fancy ball.
By this time, Adeline's eyelids were really drooping. She was almost asleep when her friends began to sing her this lullaby.
Sleep, my darling, night is nigh, stars above are peeping, while I sing a lullaby. Birds and flowers are sleeping, dreams are sent by angels fair, floating gently through the air. Sleep, my darling, close your eyes, birds and flowers are sleeping.
And as the moon and the wind and the pine tree finished their lullaby, Adeline dropped off to sleep. She was a very tired doll because she had had a very busy day. And it's pretty hard work for a doll to talk and sing. And that is the story of Adeline.